The loan officer that my guest host and I are about to talk to has gone through some personal struggles in her life, and we've all have been there, right? And those personal struggles have caused her not to focus in on her mortgage business. But now that those things are behind her, she's ready to take massive action. The only question is, what action should she take? Well, through the call with her, we uncover something that she has very special that a lot of you have special too, but like most loan officers, they don't recognize it and they don't take advantage of it. So we help her realize that and then how to take advantage of that special thing that she has going for her. All that in this next segment of the Loan Officer Hotline.
All right, Trish, welcome to the Loan Officer Hotline. How are you doing this Friday?
Hey, good. How's it going? Happy Friday.
Yep, it's going good. Thank you for asking. I have Todd Bitter with me. I don't know if you know Todd, but Todd has been in this business for a long time. He was, it's been a couple years since he stepped out of production, got into leadership, but he was closing 30 loans per month. And and
Right
I
on.
see your thing is about trying to generate some more business. And Todd's done a lot of business. I've done a lot of business too. So
Yes,
we're excited to be chatting with you.
right on. Well, thank you for having me. And hey, Todd, I've seen you online, and it seems like you're a super popular guy. Everybody wants to know Todd.
Todd's the cool kid.
I tried. Nice to
Right
meet you.
on.
So, I went through your intake form. Just share with me the struggle you're having right now. I don't want to assume I have, I can kind of venture some guesses based on your intake form. Just kind of tell me what's going on, and then probably we'll ask a few more questions. Probably go a little bit deeper.
Okay, so can I include personal and professional stuff?
Yes, if as long as you're comfortable doing it,
Okay.
absolutely, because that plays a role in for all of us.
Okay. Well, I will just be brutally honest and say that life has definitely been lifing around here with me and separated from my husband. And that has distracted me from the business. And now that I am more focused and I have that situation behind me, I'm just trying to find my groove again. I've had a number of, like borrowers, but it just seems like it has been fallout season for one reason or another. And I can honestly say it was not because of credit or income. These are people where, credit was okay, funds were okay, but for one reason or another, they just kind of had to put, their transactions on the back burner because they had, personal stuff going on. So in the past, I've used lead gen systems. I don't even know if you want to know the names of them, but I spent.
You don't need to give the names, but
Okay.
if you could just give like what they did.
So pretty much running Facebook ads, through a company. I got a bunch of ads, and I know you got to work them, but like the CRM, everything was like built out where you could, where it would kind of capture their attention for you, like with the follow up and stuff. So, and, I would get people on the phone and it just seemed like it was a bunch of looky loos, for the most part. So I'm like, okay, it just seems like I'm gonna say 70% of the people were looking, but then the other 30% were probably reaching out to like multiple lenders, just trying to get started or get information or, what do you have available? What can you do for me? So,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah, and that was, yeah, none of those closed. So,
Got it. All right. So I have some thoughts here, and I'm sorry to hear everything you went through, and I'm glad it's behind you. I know how that feels.
thank you.
It's very tough, and it's well. We'll just hop into some things here, and so I'm gonna. This is gonna seem like kind of a little bit of a long roundabout way to get to what I want to get to, but I want this also to help you think a little bit differently. A lot of times when we're stuck into the grind, the swamp, or whatever you want to call it, we don't even realize what's going on. We're just trying to survive.
Right,
And the more effort that we do, it seems sometimes the faster we sink in the quicksand, right?
right,
And so from what I'm hearing, like there's and from when people have constraints in their business, I mean, and things are holding them back, there are some things to look at is, okay, what are the things that are holding you back? And one is for a lot of people, it's that they just need to do more of what's working. In your case, is we're not sure what's working, right? Other is metrics. Just gonna go through this here. Manpower, money, model, and market. These are six things that can hold somebody back. Hopefully, you can read my terrible handwriting. Market is. I'm just to address this
It's
really
actually
quickly.
backwards, like upside down, like your camera is like pointing down. So like I see ERO capital M. Like
Oh,
Okay.
it
Well,
flipped it.
hopefully it'll work for you.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll get it here. So
Okay.
so let's just quickly talk about market. And so when there's things like fallout, and you're saying it's not consumer, it's not like hey, it was a bad pre-approval or something,
Right.
because sometimes people will blame fallout, but they should never been pre-approved. That's not your case. It is like we can't help the market, right? I can't control what rates are. I can't control, hey, the appraisal came back and all of a sudden they just got so jaded, so they're just going to rent or whatever, right? But if my business is slow because of whatever market conditions are, it means I just need to do more things to generate my business. It sounds simple enough, but people are saying, well, it's taken me longer for my pre-approvals to turn into closings. Well, yeah, but if you had 3 times the amount of pre-approvals,
Mhm.
you would have 3 times the amount of closings as a result. So you need to do more than what you might have had to used to do.
Agreed.
We don't know what more yet is for you yet. We're going to get to that. Metrics, same thing. We don't know what metrics are yet because we don't know what's the model that works for you. Manpower, same thing. To cross these out, you're not in a spot where you need to hire people to help you grow,
Right.
right? So it's going to come down to model and money, right? What we want to do. You talked about Facebook ads. That model, I'll tell you, is your goal to get business right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, if you're a loan officer or a branch manager and your business is stuck, whether it's because you don't have enough business coming in or you're having trouble getting the business closed, I want to help you. I do free loan officer hot seats where I invite loan officers on one at a time and I help them fix the biggest issue in their business that's stopping them from to grow. Now, if this is something that interests you, in the description is an intake form. Fill that out, let me know a little bit about your business, and I'll personally review it. If it's something I think that I can help, then my team will reach out to you and we'll get you scheduled for one of our upcoming hot seats.
Todd, correct me if I'm wrong and interject at any time and interrupt me at all. But I would say I've done lots of online ones. Anything to do with online leads, with a few exceptions, is not your immediate play.
you're going to get, first of all, Facebook ads is going to get you a lot of not the best buyers in
Mhm.
typical situations, a lot of DPA type of people, things like that, or just online leads in general. You get a lot of shoppers because they're online and they're like Bankrate, Facebook, Lending Tree,
Mhm.
blah, blah, so you are going to get a lot of shoppers at just looky loos on Facebook ads and things like that. But Facebook ads are cheap, so it does get your name out there. I'm not saying don't do them, but because they are inexpensive, I'd say keep doing them, but don't focus on them because again, anything to get your name out there is not a bad thing, especially if it's inexpensive, but you're never going to build a business off of Facebook ads. It could just enhance what you're doing, in my opinion.
I
Yeah,
agree.
create that visibility. Then if you looked at, say, more expensive ones, those higher intent type of things, then you run into a problem is that, well, money, right?
Mhm.
Higher intent ones are going to cost more money. You have higher competition on it. And if money is an issue, is that, well, that doesn't make sense either to do. Doesn't mean it's not sense down the road. But if your thing is, I need right now business, funds are limited, is that these start to refine of what we should be focusing on from a model to try to get business from. Does that make sense? It's like, okay, I have these restrictions. So it means that while it might be good for some, it's not for me at this part.
Right.
What else are you doing? Like the leads that you have
Mhm.
gotten, that may have fallen out. They're good leads, but they've fallen out. Where have those come from? Were those Facebook ads or were those other ones?
None of those were Facebook ads. Those came from like people I know, whether it was another agent, a friend, somebody I met actually like sent me somebody and it was just like random, where I met this person at. And when this person reached out to me, I was like, oh, so I had to like call her up, like, thank you for, like giving them my information, but mostly from people I know.
I just wrote up here. It's backwards for you. People I know, and I put a heart around it.
Got it.
Now, I've had this. You and I have never spoken over before. We
Mhm.
had messaged back and forth before,
Right.
and but you came on here within 5 seconds of you talking.
Mhm.
You had the very first thing that I look for, and I talk with a loan officer about when we get in business is people do business with people they like.
Mhm.
I could tell that within the first 5 seconds of us talking. I don't know how, but I'm not the only one that feels that, is people have that intuition. Now, I don't know, you could be a psychopath for all I know, Trish, but I'm just joking, right? And,
Right.
but you have that right off the bat, and you said
Thank
that you
you.
got business from random people that you talked to, and it just came back to you, okay? So this as looking at your form that you filled out,
Mhm.
my initial thought is, well, if she has this part, this is what I need to do
I
more
need to
of.
get more people to send me
You
people.
need to have,
Mhm.
right. Those people like you.
Mhm.
People do business with you because they like you. They keep doing business with you. And Todd, you've heard me say this to multiple people today, is that you're good at what you do and you don't let them forget about you.
Mhm.
You do that, you're going to get more business. And the great thing is with your is that once you start getting more of that business, this means you get more money that you can then potentially, if you wanted to, is to invest into other things, better leads or systems or this things, or you might just say is that, well, this is working so well, I'm just going to keep doing more of what's that, and I just make this better. Then I get manpower to help me do that kind of stuff,
Right.
right?
Right.
But this is your wheelhouse, is to do this. Now the question is how are you creating those conversations? Is it just naturally happening, or are you intentionally trying to create those conversations that people know that you're a loan officer, that like, hey, you should refer Trish, and like, how are those conversations coming about?
You know what? I think they're coming naturally. So, like when we meet people, I mean, you could be sitting out at dinner, and because we are in the business of talking to people, like I talk to people and I come from healthcare too. So, you always have to teach and educate people about something, whether it's, their after discharge care from the hospital, whatever. But even if I'm because a lot of times I'll go and sit somewhere, and I like to go to places by myself because it keeps me out of my comfort zone, if that makes sense. So,
Hmm.
like, for example, I
100%.
can go to Olive Garden, sit down at the bar. Like, I'm not having drinks, but I'll just like order a little lunch or something. And, other people will come in, sit next to me, and I'll just, hey, how's it going? When people walk up and sit and, we're eating our food and they'll have a drink. And I'm just like, oh, what is that? Like, it's cute. It's got like all these pretty colors in it. So, and we'll just like start talking. Oh, yeah. And, I'm here with my coworker. And, hey, Trish, this is so and so. So, and I make friends. Like, I
Yeah.
make friends wherever I go. So, like my ex was like, you need to leave people alone. And I'm like, why? Because I'm in a business of talking to people. Like, that's what I do. And so and then we always just like find something in common. I'm like, oh, you guys are here, for your lunch break. What kind of work do you do? Like, where do you work? And we'll just go from there. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know, so and so, they have a business, or, they work for whoever, like in that same building, where you guys are. And I'll just kind of throw in something. Oh yeah, and my sister's getting ready to do this, and they're gonna, renovate the house, and my coworker's doing this. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? If you guys need some help, I might know some people. I know people that know contractors and blah blah blah. And by the way, I'm a loan officer. So I mean, like I slide it in some kind of way, and they end up, like walking away with the card or something. But I'm not like, hey, do you want to buy a home? Like I'm not.
No, I know what you're saying. So here's the beautiful thing, is what you do naturally is that if you were to put intentional effort behind, when I say, and I know you're doing this intentionally, but I'm talking about intentional to
Mhm.
scale it, is that you're going to see rapid results. And I'll give you a few things on there, but I want to share with you what's happening behind of what you're doing. Because I think if you understand principles behind things, is why it works, is that then I can replicate it. Like what you do naturally, I have to do intentionally, like because I don't have that natural thing that you're talking about, the gregariousness to be able to do that. Like me, is that I have to intentionally try to replicate that. And the thing is, it works. I can do it. I can replicate it and it works. And so like when you're developing a relationship with somebody, there are four parts to developing a relationship. I didn't invent this. This comes from a book called The Like Switch, Like, a switch. Every relationship you have has goes through these four parts of it to develop a strong relationship. The first one is proximity. Proximity is just being seen around her. Like you go to Olive Garden, they see you. You create proximity. The next part of it though is that if I want to grow that relationship, I have to then create frequency. All frequency is repeating proximity over and over and
Mm,
over.
okay.
Like, for instance, Todd and I have known each other for years, and we had a little bit of proximity, but what we didn't have is the frequency. And so now Todd and I, I'm just sharing it because I'm just open how this like our relationship is going to grow because now we're creating the frequency of proximity. And it's just how it works. I can potentially develop frequency with people. Like if I wanted to develop a relationship with you, Trish, and I'm just saying like in a just in a professional
Mhm,
relationship, so that
mhm.
sounds kind of weird
Yeah.
on
No, I
there,
get
is
it.
that I would intentionally have all these little touch points with you. As like for instance, let's just say I saw an ad regarding Olive Garden, right? We talked about that, and I text you, hey, did you get the new Olive
Mhm.
Garden steak? Whatever meal it is, right? It's just those little things, or interact with you on social media, the occasional text message. I can recreate this frequency. This is going to be huge for you. I'll get more to that in a second.
Okay.
Then is duration. This is where you spend longer periods of time with somebody, like when you're having a coffee with somebody
Mhm.
or, lunch with somebody, you're at an event with somebody, you whatever, duration, you have that. The great thing is you don't need to recreate this often. You don't need to do that often. And then the last thing is intensity. Right off the bat, because we are talking about your business and because you shared personal things with us, the things that you went through, this created intensity. And automatically now, since we talked about this, and this is going to sound weird, is like I feel a little bit more trust with DJ and Todd than I would with some other random person because I've done this intensity part. So I'm kind of like revealing the curtain behind this.
Mhm.
Now, every time I share this with people, I say is these things are neutral. When I say neutral, it's because they can be used for bad or they can be used for good, right? Is because people can manipulate people with this type of knowledge and understanding here, or they can use it for good and developing legitimate relationships that they care about. Your goal is that I need to work on these two things here, proximity and frequency, more often. Reallocate the time you were spending on Facebook ads, anything else that you were doing that wasn't generating results. I don't know how much, let's say it was an hour, 2 hours a day on that. How much more business would you have if you took 2 hours a day that you were spending on things that weren't working, but you reinvested into things that did work or that work for you now?
Yeah, that would I stopped the Facebook ads already. So I'm just like, okay, I know I need to do something different and I got to get from behind this desk because and people need to see me and they need to know who I am. And I love what you said about that frequency part because that just kind of reminds me of what another LO from another company who's actually trying to recruit me um, came over and was like, "You know what I do?" And, this guy was like, "Look, I go to this place every day. Every day I'm there, I'm working." And he said, "If I have nobody to talk to, I will put my phone on airplane and just sit there." And he wants people to like hear him speak and they'll like walk over like, "Oh my God, you do loans." And, so he attracts people to him that way. But I'm just like, I'm not doing it. So I rather, go somewhere and where I'm like not fake because I
Right.
can't
You got
do
to
the
be
fake.
you.
Yeah.
Right. Be you, but it's amplified.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you don't need to do anything new. Like you say, I had to do something new. No, you just need to do more of what you already
Yeah.
do. You might have to, I would also, I'm gonna say, and Todd, you share this on with your thoughts in here too. Is I wouldn't say is you need to keep going to different places and trying to do that. Keep doing that. What you've done. I would say, how can what can I do that I'm gonna get more contacts per minute of time or per hour of time?
Mm,
That's gonna be things like social media,
yeah.
your phone contacts, and reaching out, talking to people, catching up with people, messaging people, liking their posts, commenting their
Mhm.
posts, all those different
Yeah.
things you're going to get more touches per hour than you will if you just simply did it, in person. I'm not saying don't do it in person because that's working for you. But I think if you were to take your Facebook time, our ad time, and you did that into that, you would see fast
I
results.
agree. Yeah,
Agree with that too.
for sure.
Have you ever thought about, I mean, I love what he's telling you to do here. Have you ever thought about just doing something as simple as like a first time homebuyers seminar? Like,
I did. Yeah. I I'm dually licensed and I'm like, okay, well, who else can I bring in? It's like I'm seeing like people do, you have your LO, you have a agent maybe on there, but they'll bring somebody else besides themselves. So, the agents that I know, like everybody's running around calls, like I can't have not been able to get a time with them, that works for both of us to come on. So I'm just going to do it by myself. And that's the conclusion that I've come to. So yeah, that's in the top 5. So
Yeah,
yeah.
because back when I was trying to restart in Arizona and I didn't have a lot of business,
Hmm.
I would a lot of the title companies are in, like, buildings where they can get a really large meeting room, not a conference room, but like a
Right.
large meeting room, and the
Right.
title companies would donate that room, and I would, put out the word on Facebook and networking groups and everything else, like,
Hmm.
"Hey, first-time homebuyer class," and usually it was pretty easy to get, like, 40. We would get, like, registrations for, like, 80, and you'd figure half will show up, right?
Right.
So we'd end up getting 30, 40 people there. And then I wasn't a licensed agent, so I wasn't trying to capture those for my agency thing. What I would
Right.
do is I would then figure out how many I'd have, and then I would call realtors and say, "Hey, I've got this seminar. There's going to be it's anywhere from 40 to 60 first-time home buyers there. Would you like to come to the meeting and introduce yourself and meet these people?" It was a good way for me to get realtors to come to my event that normally wouldn't talk to me, but now I'm offering something of value. And
Right.
if I had 40 in the room, I would invite 4 realtors that I've been trying to get business from, but I wasn't, and
Hmm.
just invite them and say, "Hey, there's 4 realtors in the room and they all get to meet these 30, 40 people that are in the room." Now I've given them something of value. They have to compete against each other if there's a loan there or a home sale there, but at
Right.
least I gave them something of value. So it's another way to get realtors to maybe see you as a value prop.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. In terms of time, what amount of time do you think in advance prior to the event would be like a good start? So are you like a 3-week out, couple weeks, or a little longer just to be able to like market in 4 weeks? Okay,
4 weeks, yeah, because
got it.
you gotta get the people to register. I don't tell the agents about it until I get the registration. So,
Got
if
it.
I'm 4 weeks out, I'm promoting it, I'm getting the registrations,
Mhm.
I'm telling people, "Look, you gotta sign up for a registration to join. It's free. It'll
Mhm.
be at 6 o'clock or whatever, do it in the early evening so they can make it." If I wouldn't do them on weekends because 'cause you'll get a lot of no-shows, but if you can
Of
get
course.
something around 6, 7 o'clock at night,
Okay.
a lot more people will show up, but, just figure 50% is gonna show up. So try to get like 60, 70 registrations. And if you
Mhm.
promote it right, you'll get a lot of people, especially word of mouth in the communities. People want to buy homes. You
Right.
could even make flyers and flyer cars and apartment parking lots.
Right.
But once you got your registrations, and let's say you got 70 registrations, you're probably only
Mhm.
gonna get 30 to 40 show up, right?
Right.
Once I have that set a week before the event, I start calling realtors and say, "Hey, I've got this event. There's going to be a minimum of 30 there. I got 70 registered. We always figure 40, we always figure 40 to 50% no shows. So
Mhm.
there's going to be 35, 40 people here. I'd like you to come out and you can have 5 minutes to speak in front of the people." And I invite 4 realtors and I get them to confirm they're coming. If you get confirmation from a realtor coming to that, you'll get 100% of the realtors show because you're only doing 4. You don't want 20 realtors there because then there's too many and then the realtors are pissed. But if you have 40 people in the room, you can have 1 realtor for every 10 people that you think will show up, and then just give them a chance to talk for a minute or two, introduce himself to the crowd, and then you and the title person can talk about, title companies there. You can talk about all the things they need to do to prepare to buy a home. Let the title people talk a little bit about from their perspective. You'll create an event that'll go for an hour, hour and 20 minutes, but now you've got a list of people that want to buy a home that you can do pre-qualifications for. But more importantly, you got 4 realtors or so you invited that now see that, "Hey, Trish has given me some value. She invited me to something. She didn't ask for anything in return, but now I have an opportunity to get in front of some people." But then
Sounds
afterwards, you're gonna
good.
call the realtors. "Hey, did you get any calls from these people? Hey, I'm still working on pre-approvals." But now you got in with these realtors.
Right on. I think that's a good idea. And how do you feel about virtual? Because I know, because I've got some footprints, let's just say in Vegas, for example. Vegas is a 24-hour town. People work
Yeah.
maybe swing shift, graveyard. So maybe in a place like that, virtual would probably be a little better because it's hard for Saturday mornings, kids with, their
Yeah.
games and
I mean,
rehearsals and
you can do them virtually. I think the in-person ones are gonna be more powerful, but I mean, I'm not
got
saying
it.
don't do the virtual ones. I would not do the virtual ones in place of the face-to-face ones. So I don't, are you in Vegas? Is that where you're local, or?
No, I'm in California.
Okay. So do the local ones face to face. I don't
Okay.
expect you to get on a plane to go to Vegas, but do the Vegas ones virtually, but you will get more impact from the face to face ones. So do those locally and then do the other ones virtually.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But I mean, Vegas is just next door. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I'm 4.5 hour drive in Vegas,
Yeah,
45 minutes by plane, but
about the same.
I
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't get on a plane and go to Vegas for me personally to do one of these unless I
Right.
knew. 'Cause first time homebuyer seminars, if there's 40 there, you might get a loan out of it because a lot of these people are gonna come in with bad credit and everything else.
Right.
The main purpose of it is, yeah, if you can get a loan or 2 out of it, great, but the main purpose of it is to show your realtors you're bringing them value, and all of a
Right
sudden the
on.
realtor's like, "Oh, Trish invited me to this, got me in front of people without even expecting anything in return." I did it more for meeting the realtors than I did meeting the clients. The clients were the cherry on the top if you get anything out of it.
Okay. Right on. Thank you for that. Thank you guys both.
Alright. You're welcome, Trish. Anything else we can help you with?
No, that is all. This has been helpful, and I've already got plans for the weekend to just be out like a little butterfly and
Alright.
making more connections. So
Let me know how it goes.
I,
Keep me
I
posted.
will. Thank you.
Everybody you meet, they find out what you do.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome, Trish. Take
Bye.
care. Well, Todd, I appreciate you being on the loan officer hotline today, man.
Yeah, not a problem. Anytime.
If there's anything you can think that I can make this better, just let me know, brother. Anything I can do for you?
I'm good. I mean, if you don't mind hitting Shane up for me, let's keep pushing him
I
next to
will.
winner. He needs the move. He just doesn't. He just needs
All right, brother. Will do, brother. Take care. Thank you.